Have you ever heard a story that makes your skin crawl? A story so spooky it keeps you up at night? In the town of Blackwood Creek, there is one such story. It is the story of the Ravencroft family. They say the name Ravencroft is a whisper on the wind, a warning to stay away. The older folks in town, they don't like to talk about it. They just shake their heads and tell you to mind your own business. But the kids, they know. They tell the tales in hushed voices, after the sun goes down and the shadows grow long and twisted. The Ravencrofts were not like other families. They arrived in Blackwood Creek centuries ago, building their fortune on secrets and shadows. While other townsfolk built shops and farms, the Ravencrofts built walls, not just around their property but around their lives too. They were rarely seen in town, and when they were, their eyes seemed to hold a deep, dark coldness. People said they had a darkness clinging to them, a strange energy that made the air feel heavy and thick whenever they were near. It was a feeling that made you want to run. The stories started small. A missing pet here, a strange light in the woods there. But soon the legends grew darker and more terrifying. People began to link every strange occurrence in Blackwood Creek to the family on the hill. Did your crops fail? The Ravencrofts must have cursed them. Did someone vanish without a trace? They must have wandered too close to the Ravencroft estate. The family never denied these rumors. In fact, it seemed like they enjoyed the fear they created. Their silence was their power, their mystery a weapon they wielded with chilling precision. Even now, on this very day, July 1st, 2025, the name Ravencroft holds a terrifying power. The family is long gone, or so they say, but their legacy remains, a stain on the town's history that will not wash away. The whispers have not faded with time, they have only grown louder, echoing through the generations. They say that if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can still hear them. The dark secrets of the Ravencroft family, carried on the chilling night breeze, waiting for someone new to listen. Are you listening? At the edge of Blackwood Creek, there is a hill that is always in shadow. Even on the brightest summer day, a strange gloom hangs over it. And at the very top of that hill sits the Ravencroft mansion. It is not just a house, it is a monster made of stone and wood. Its windows are like vacant eyes, staring down at the town below, watching and waiting. The roof is jagged, like broken teeth against the grey sky. Locals call it the house on Shadow Hill, and no one dares to go near it after dark. It's a place where nightmares are born. The mansion itself seems to breathe with a life of its own. The iron gates are rusted shut, twisted with thorny vines that look like skeletal fingers. The paint on the walls is peeling away, revealing dark, rotting wood underneath. People who have dared to get close claim they've heard things. They say you can hear faint whispers coming from the empty rooms, the sound of weeping from the highest tower, or the slow, deliberate creak of a rocking chair when there is no one there to rock it. The air around the mansion is always cold, a permanent chill that seeps into your bones and refuses to leave. Inside, the stories are even worse. Legend has it that the hallways twist and change, leading unsuspecting visitors into an endless maze of darkness. The portraits on the walls are said to follow you with their eyes, their painted smiles turning into sinister sneers when you turn your back. Doors slam shut on their own, chandeliers swing violently without a breeze, and strange, shadowy figures are seen flitting just at the edge of your vision. It is a house that does not want you there. It is a house that remembers everything, every dark secret, every terrible event that happened within its walls. The grounds are no safer than the house itself. The garden is a tangled mess of dead roses with thorns as sharp as needles and statues of weeping angels that seem to move when you're not looking. There is an old dried-up well in the backyard, and some say that if you stare into its black depths for too long, you will see faces staring back at you. These are the faces of those who got too close to the Ravencroft family's secrets, trapped forever in the darkness. The mansion is a tomb, a monument to the family's sinister past, and it keeps its secrets well guarded. The Ravencroft family tree is filled with twisted branches and rotten roots. Each generation produced members more peculiar and unsettling than the last. The founder, Silas Ravencroft, was a man who was said to practice dark arts. He built the mansion and was rumored to have made a pact with something ancient and evil to secure his fortune. He was never seen smiling, and his portrait, which still hangs in the main hall, is said to bring bad luck to anyone who looks at it for too long. He set the stage for the strangeness that would follow his bloodline. Then there was Elara Ravencroft, known as the Lady of the Moths. She lived in the mid-1800s and was obsessed with the nocturnal insects. She would spend her nights wandering the gardens, her long dark hair filled with fluttering moths. Townspeople claimed she could speak to them, commanding swarms to do her bidding. She was often seen standing at her window, a ghostly figure surrounded by a cloud of grey wings. Her behaviour grew more erratic over time, and she eventually vanished from her room, leaving behind nothing but a single, perfectly preserved Luna moth on her pillow. Perhaps the most infamous was the last of the line, the twins, Julian and Lenora Ravencroft. They were inseparable and communicated in a strange, secret language only they understood. They were pale and thin, with identical, unnerving stares. Julian was a master toy maker, but his creations were grotesque and unsettling, dolls with too many eyes and puppets with permanent, screaming expressions. Lenora collected clocks, hundreds of them, and would keep them all set to different times, filling the mansion with a constant, chaotic symphony of ticking and chiming that drove visitors mad. The twins were the final chapter in the family's strange history in Blackwood Creek. They isolated themselves completely, never leaving the mansion's grounds. The last time anyone saw them, they were standing together on the balcony, watching a storm roll in, their laughter echoing eerily across the valley. The next day, the mansion was silent. The gates were locked from the inside, and they were never seen again. They simply disappeared, leaving behind a house full of creepy toys, mismatched clocks, and a legacy of fear that would haunt the town forever. The people of Blackwood Creek don't just believe the Ravencrofts were strange, they believe they were cursed. Or maybe they were the curse themselves. One of the most enduring legends is that of the Ravencroft shadow. The story goes that Silas Ravencroft didn't just build a mansion. He bound a malevolent shadow entity to his family line. This shadow was meant to protect their fortune, but it demanded a terrible price. It fed on happiness and light, which is why the family was always so gloomy and secretive, living in perpetual darkness to keep the entity satisfied. This curse is said to be the reason for the family's misfortunes. It wasn't just their odd behavior, it was the string of tragedies that followed them. There were mysterious illnesses that doctors could not explain, sudden and shocking accidents on the property, and members of the family who would simply waste away from an unshakable sadness. The curse ensured that no Ravencroft would ever find peace or joy. They were doomed to live out their lives in the cold embrace of the shadow they had invited into their home, a darkness passed from one generation to the next. The legend of the curse extends beyond the family. It is said that the shadow still lingers in the mansion, waiting. Some local thrill seekers who have broken into the estate have come back with horrifying stories. They speak of feeling an unnatural cold spot, of seeing a flicker of movement in the corner of their eye that was darker than any normal shadow. One boy swore he felt icy fingers brush against the back of his neck, followed by a whisper that sounded like dry leaves skittering across pavement. He refused to ever speak of what he saw in detail again. Today, the Ravencroft curse is a part of the town's identity. It's a ghost story told to scare children, but it's also a warning that some parents still take seriously. They tell their kids not to play near Shadow Hill, that the family's darkness can still reach out and touch you. The empty mansion stands as a constant reminder of the family's sinister past. The curse of the Ravencrofts may have started with them, but some people in Blackwood Creek believe it never truly ended. It just went to sleep, waiting for someone